Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Hey, we're back at it. I'm happy to be home. I am happy to be home. I think it was 8 weeks in a row of traveling, either for my day job or for our lovely whiskey world. So, before we dive into today's episode, what's new with the Judge? I just got back from Ohio. Me and actually 2 different groups of patrons. We did 2 barrel picks for our community, and let's just say we picked some phenomenal whiskey. So, let's take you on the journey. First and foremost, we went to High Bank Distillery in Columbus, Ohio. High Bank, if you guys have not had a chance to try any of the High Bank Distillery products, the Whiskey War products that they have, please check out High Bank. They are just creating some special blends, some wonderful whiskey. So we picked a double oak bourbon, but I will say the second oak type, so obviously the first was always the original American oak, but the second oak type is something that does not exist, at least not here in the US. We've looked all over. We don't believe any other brand or distillery uses wood type for the double oak that we use. So be on the lookout for that barrel pick. The whiskey, we all picked it. It was like, I think it was like 10 or 11 of us. We were like, damn, it was that good. So a very unique wood type, again, I don't think it's ever been used in the US. So that was a really cool double oak. I'm really thankful for High Bank Distillery for even allowing us to pick this barrel that is like a one-time type of a creation. So shout out to High Bank. I appreciate those guys, Adam and Dylan and Tony, super cool guys. Check them out. Their whiskey is just great. Second, we went to Middle West Spirits. Last year we did the dark pumpernickel rye. We wanted to change up this year, so this year we actually did a wheat whiskey. So the first wheat whiskey for the Judge community. Our patrons, we went there. It was hands down a unanimous decision again, and we were equally happy. The guys, Kyle and the team over at Middle West Spirits, all good people, and we had a blast. So 2 fantastic single barrels that we're bringing to the Judge community. Really, really excited. If you're interested in becoming a patron, go ahead and check me out over on Patreon. But really excited for that. And last but not least, in terms of barrel picks, releasing in the next day or two is our newest barrel pick. And this one is what I'm sipping today. Cedar Ridge. This is a Cedar Ridge double oak bourbon. This is a joint barrel pick with our good friends over at Stuff and Whiskey. My good friends Josh and Aaron. Love Josh and Aaron. Such great people. This one's coming in at 118.3 proof. This one, when we did the barrel pick, this one a unanimous decision, but this one's releasing in the next 24 to 48 hours to our respective patron communities. The Cedar Ridge, some great Iowa whiskey, a double oak that is, oh man, straight fire. Delicious, absolutely delicious. All right. So today, I'm going to give you 5 bottles that were, honestly, in 2024 were a bit underwhelming. So these were releases where when they came out, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of hype about them, coming from the different brands, people just, writing up about them and so forth. And I just, when I had a chance to actually try them and review them myself, I'm like, it's not what I expected, honestly, not what I expected. So what's cool about this is that I've talked about some of these before on other episodes, but there are a couple here that I've not talked about in other episodes. So some of these might be a surprise to you. But these are 5 releases where, again, they came out in 2024. I tried them and I just wasn't, I don't know, I was kind of like, I was left with like a sense of like, it's just missing something. Just for me, right? Me personally. Everyone's different. Some people out there might love some of these, but these were 5 that I was like, I don't know. They're just missing je ne sais quoi, maybe way too much hype. Sometimes you don't always have to bite into the hype. And unfortunately, I definitely bit into the hype. I will say honestly, and I've said this before, there are a ton of craft distilleries out there, like the ones I just did a barrel picks with, I just mentioned earlier, as well as the one that's coming out, the Cedar Ridge. There's such great quality whiskey out there coming from craft distilleries. A lot of these other big brands, I don't know. Sometimes they're just kind of missing a boat a little bit. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes. All right. So I'm going to give you 5. These are not in order, but these are my 5, almost in some ways, biggest disappointments of 2024. Yeah, they really are. All right. I'm going to go into these. I'm going to explain the reason why. Fair? All right. So number 1. Oh, man. Number 1 comes from a big brand, right? A big brand. And when this one came out, I was personally, really looking forward to this bottle. A lot of hype about them. There was 3 different releases, and all 3 were just pretty decent. They were all priced about $100, $110. I wish I only paid like $70 for it. That's I think the real value. The whiskey was okay, but just wasn't worth $110. That's my only rub with this whiskey. The whiskey itself was actually pretty decent, but just not $110 plus tax, $120 technically. Heaven Hill, grain in the glass. Now this is the wheated bourbon. It's decent. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, it's decent. I like it. I actually do like this, but I don't like it for a $110 with tax. Actually, like $120, $125. If it was $70, sure, absolutely, but not a $110, $120. No way. Way overpriced. Way overpriced. Way overhyped. First and foremost, way overhyped. That is number one. All right. So, Judge, what is number two on your list and why? So, number two, I've talked about this one before. Number two, I hate to beat a dead horse because I've definitely talked about it before. If you ever watched some of my other episodes recently, number two is probably the biggest disappointment for 2024. Traveler whiskey from Buffalo Trace. I'm sorry, Buffalo Trace. When you have such a powerful brand, you got to come correct. I mean, you are Buffalo Trace. You have the strongest brand in the whiskey business, at least in the American whiskey business. You can't put out something like this and expect people to be happy about it. I mean, Buffalo Trace, Chris Stapleton, I mean, icon in the music industry. All I'm saying is this. If I'm Chris Stapleton and I'm working with Buffalo Trace, the whiskey in here better be damn amazing. It's not going to be this. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to go on my soapbox like I did the last time. That is number two from a disappointment standpoint of 2024. All right, real quick, before I go 3, 4, and 5, a couple of favors real quick. Number one, hit the like button. Number two, drop me a comment. Let me know some of your bottles for 2024 that you were just, kind of disappointed and ones that you really thought were going to be just amazing and they kind of missed the mark for you. And number three, last but not least, please make sure you also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notification each and every time I release new content. Cool? All right. Cheers. Woo! Cedar Ridge Double Oak. Woo! Oh my gosh. Another craft distillery. My patrons are going to love this. They're going to love it. Oh my goodness. All right. Number 3 on the list. Oh man. So number 3, another big brand. I don't think the whiskey itself is not bad. Let me be crystal clear. The whiskey itself is not bad. The whiskey itself is good. It's just not worth the price point. It's not worth the hype. And this is actually one where I'm glad I did not find a bottle of it. I am glad because I saved myself a couple $100. I got a sample from a good friend and I enjoyed it. But even my friend who gave me the sample, like, hey, Judge, it's good, but it's not as good as last year or the original release. Number 3 on the release, or number 3 on the list, rather, I should say. This is Maker's 2024 Cellar Age. So Maker's Mark Cellar Age 2024. I do not have the bottle, and I'm thankful I don't have the bottle. I will say, though, you know what's funny? Maker's this year came out with some other releases, like, as an example, the Lost Recipe. I got that in Costco, or Mrs. Judge, rather, got that in Costco for like $60, $65. To me, I had that side by side with the Maker's 24 Cellar Age, and it blew the Cellar Age out the water. So why am I all worried about this hype of the Cellar Age? It's coming back out from last year. The 2024 Maker Cellar Age is not even in the same ballpark as 2023. Is it good? Yes. But is it worth like $150, $160? Absolutely not. I'll save that $100 and I'll stick with the Lost Recipe that I got from Costco for $65. To me, way too much hype for Maker's Mark Cellar Age 2024. Hey, I speak the truth, guys. You guys know me. I speak the truth always. All right. What is 4 and 5? Oh, man. 4 is going to be one that I've talked about before in the past. I'll just say this. I love the standard product that you can find on the shelf, and I love the older version. But number 4, man, Baker 7, this high rye bourbon. Ugh, goodness gracious. There's something about this. I don't know what it is. It might just be that whole Baker's very peanut forward. That peanut mixed with like the high rye, that minty, peppery kind of a note that you normally get from a rye. Those two just do not jam, at least not in this product. The standard Baker 7, great. The Baker's 13, fantastic. But the Baker 7 high rye, big X. Big X. Yes. Not for me. Not today. Not today. And I tried this on several occasions, and it does not get better. So let's be crystal clear. It does not get better. It doesn't have to open up anymore. It's opened. It's done. It's done. All right. Judge, what is number 5 and why? And by the way, I will say there is no asterisk today at all. No asterisk, just 5. So what is 5 and why? So number 5 comes from a brand that many of us love. I'm going to say that this whiskey is not bad. I think I even gave it a split decision. The whiskey is not bad. To me, it's just missing something, and I'll explain the reason why. So I started with Heaven Hill. We might as well end with Heaven Hill. Number 5 is Parker's Heritage Collection. This is the 2024 release. The malt whiskey finished in reconstructed heavy toast cognac barrels, aged 14 years. I got the sample again from my good friend Jason, JC, over at Master Drum. Thanks again, Jason, for sharing the sample. I thought this is actually good whiskey, but I don't think it's worthy of being like its special release. When you think of Heaven Hill, do you really think of like an American single malt? Not me. You think of bourbons. You think of ryes. When I think of Heaven Hill, like the special releases, I'm thinking like for the Parkers as well, I'm thinking like the heavy char rye. I'm thinking of the double barrel blend. I'm not thinking of American single malt. I mean, sorry, sometimes you have to stay in your lane. I have no clue why Parker's or Heaven Hill decided to use its special release on American single malt. There's nothing wrong with American single malt. Let me be crystal clear. Nothing wrong with American single malt, but it should not be your special release of the year. You can come up with this product, but make it its own little product line. Don't put it in the Parkers. Oh man. So yes, that was my number 5. Hey friends, as we say in this courtroom, peace, cheers, most important,